welcome to Drive 2. Hopefully you've already watched the Drive 1 video, and maybe you've even already done Drive 1 with Parkside. My name is Lynn. I'm with Parkside Driving School. Hopefully you're a student of ours, or a parent of a student of ours, or something like that. Of course, anybody watching this is welcome to learn. So today we're going to go over the things that we do at Parkside on Drive 2. So Drive 1, if you watched that video, but maybe it's been a while, let me just give you a recap. Drive 1 was all about confidence and the beginning of looking where you want the car to go, vision control. So Drive 2 picks right up on that. We're still working on confidence. We still want to have you feel like you're empowered to make good decisions behind the wheel without fear. And then we're starting to really focus on where your eyes are looking. So driving down a road like this, I'm watching how far I am behind that car in front of me so that I'm able to brake if they stop suddenly. I'm also checking my rearview mirror to see how closely things are following me, because I don't want anybody back there that might run into me if I have to brake suddenly. And then I'm checking every intersection all the time, every driveway, every parking lot, everything that I'm going to encounter that has cross traffic, like the street we're going through right now, this intersection. That was an opportunity for cross traffic, so I'm checking that before I go through it. I'm making sure that everywhere my car is about to go doesn't have anything in it that I could hit or that could hit me. It's that simple. Don't let things hit you. Don't hit stuff. I know it sounds simple, and in reality it's not as simple as it sounds, but the reality is, if you're paying attention and you're using your eyes well, it is that simple. This isn't rocket science. I could train a monkey to drive if all it was looking where you need to go and steering. The reason monkeys can't drive is because they can't make good logic decisions about stopping without hitting stuff. But you could totally teach a monkey to steer where they're looking and go where their eyes are looking. They can do that pretty easy. So if a monkey can do that part, guess what? So can you, pretty well. So here we are on a 4-lane road, which means 2 lanes in our direction, 2 lanes in the opposite direction. I'm traveling in the right lane. So as I get to intersections, I'm still checking to make sure there's nothing going to run the stop sign and run into me. But I'm also checking my rear view mirror, and I'm checking my driver's side mirror to see if there are cars next to me, close behind me, or anything like that. I've got to be much more aware on a busier street because there's a lot more places for cars to be. So we're going to drive here. I think I'll take a right at this next intersection. We'll get off this busy street and do a couple of the other things with our eyes that we do on Drive 2. One of the things we do on Drive 2 is we practice parking along the side of a street, or in other words, getting close to the curb by pulling over next to it. So here's a good example. Here's a good opportunity. We're going to signal to the right. I'm going to check over my shoulder, make sure there was no pedestrians or other cars there. And then I'm going to steer gently to the right. And I'm going to use reference markers that I figure out to get nice and close to the curb. So I can't show you what the reference points are for me in this car on this video because the camera just doesn't look in the right places for all of that. But on Drive 2, you're going to work with your instructor to figure out how to find a reference point, not only in that car, but how you can find reference points in the car you drive at home, so that you'll be able to pull over next to a curb like this and then correctly re-enter traffic. So to re-enter traffic, we're on the side of the road, we signal to the left because our car's going to go to the left. We check our mirrors. Yep, nothing behind us. Oh wait, I better check my blind spot because I didn't see everything. Okay, check over my shoulder and check my blind spot. Yep, still safe, looks good. Back out onto the street we go, and we accelerate up close to whatever the speed limit is. You'll notice the street we're on has no center line painted, so we just have to get kind of on the right half of center so that we're not going to encounter any head-on traffic and we're not in the way of any of these parked vehicles in the parking lane. Alright, so that was pulling to the side of the road and then re-entering traffic. You might practice that a few times on Drive 2. You're going to do that a lot in life. You're going to do a lot of parking next to curbs in different scenarios. So this is a really good skill to work on when you're early on in the process. And then the next thing, or one of the next things, is going to be backing along something like a curb or some other straight line that you want to find a reference point for going backwards, and really practice using your eyes looking backwards the whole time the car is moving backwards. Let's turn right here and see if we can find a straight line road to do that on. So, visually scanning, looking for risks, looking for animals, looking for children, looking for anything, because I'm in a residential neighborhood, and I'm looking for a little bit of a straight section of curb to pull over and back along. Here we go. There's a nice one coming up. So, to pull over there again, signal to the right, look over my right shoulder, pull over towards the curb using some kind of reference marker so they don't hit the curb, but I get nice and close. And then I'll stop right here. Alright, so you probably saw this in Drive 1 video, but here we go. We're going to go in reverse. So I'm going to spin around, I'm going to twist myself around, I'm going to get in my eyes looking backwards because I'm about to go backwards. Alright, and now I'm using little reference markers and I'm backing straight along the curb. I can do this for as long as I want, as long as I don't back all the way into that yellow Jeep, because I'm sure that yellow Jeep's driver or owner would not like to find his Jeep all dented up for me backing into it. So there we go. I've stopped, and I'm still reasonably close to the curb because I used reference points and I kept my eyes looking back the whole time so that I could tell where I was in relation to things. So practice that. Guess what? We do a ton of driving going forward. And you know what? That gets pretty easy. It's like, hey, look, big windshield, everything's in front of me. I didn't have to twist my neck around. So you get really good at driving forward. But a big part of driving is going backwards. And we don't practice it enough. New drivers especially, you do not practice going backwards enough to get good at it. That's why you make more mistakes going backwards. That's why cars get in fender benders more going backwards, leaving parking lots and things. You gotta practice the hard stuff about driving. Don't just do the easy, oh, I'm just gonna drive to school. That's only part of it. You gotta practice the tough stuff. Backing up, backing and turning, parking, all of that. You gotta do it. All right, let's re-enter traffic and go on to something else. Looking over my shoulder, checking my blind spot, re-entering traffic. The signal was on, told anybody that might have been coming what I was doing. All of those steps. All right, here crossing a fairly busy street. I know you guys can't see all the cross traffic in the video, but there's cars coming from both ways, so I'm going to wait for them. There those ones go. There's one more. All right, I'm going to start rolling, and I cross the intersection. So the other major technical thing, and it's not difficult, but it's something we practice on Drive 2, is called an alley turnabout. An alley turnabout is kind of like a U-turn or a three-point turn that you did on Drive 1, but we do it using a driveway or a parking lot or an alley or something that allows us to get off the road while we're doing the turning around. So let's use this fine person's driveway coming up here on the left. So I'm going to signal to the left. I'm going to check around, make sure there's nothing coming, and I'm just going to pull into their driveway until I'm off the street. Here we go, pulling up behind this Volvo. All right, I'm off the street. Now I'm putting it in reverse. I'm looking both ways to check for traffic or pedestrians. I'm backing up, looking back. I'm going to turn the wheel as I back out so that I'm backing to the right. Never crossing the center line of the road. There we go. Stop, shift to drive, and re-enter traffic heading the opposite direction. That was what we call a left alley turnabout, meaning we used a driveway on our left or an alley on our left to help us turn around so that if there was traffic, we wouldn't be blocking it. Now then, there is what we call a right alley turnabout. A right alley turnabout is basically the same thing, except we don't drive into a driveway or an alley on the right. We back into an alley or a driveway on the right. So I'm going to take us across this street. It's kind of busy. We're going to have to wait for some cross traffic here. 3 cars from my left. No more cars to the right. So as this car gets in front of me, I'm moving. All right. Now then, I'm just looking for a driveway or an alley or a parking lot entrance, something on my right that I can use to help me back up. I don't see anything really good here, so I'm going to go on to this next block. I already see a nice driveway coming up that I can use. All right, complete stop at stop signs. Check both directions. Heading forward. All right, you see the chain link fence area? I think there's a driveway right at the end of that fenced zone. So I'm going to signal to the right. I'm going to move over next to the curb. So I look over my shoulder. I drive over here next to the curb. And just as I'm just past this driveway entrance, right about there, I'm going to stop. I'm in the parking lane, essentially parked next to the curb, just past a driveway. Now, I want to put it in reverse. I want to signal to the right, tell traffic what I'm doing. I'm going to look around, make sure it's safe. And then I'm going to back sharp to the right into that driveway. Just like that, just like I'm backing into anything else. I'm backing up, looking around, make sure I don't hit anything. I'm completely off the road now. I can stop. I don't have to go any farther than that. I'm off the road. All right. Put it in drive, straighten the steering wheel, creep out, make sure it's safe, signal left. And if it's safe, left I go. And here I am on the same street going the opposite direction. So alley turnabouts, super easy, super safe. It feels a little more awkward to do one on the right because backing onto somebody's driveway is a little weird compared to pulling in forward. So you might not want to do that one as often in real life, but you definitely want to practice it because guess what? There are going to be times when you need to turn around and the road is too narrow to do it all on the road, or traffic is too dense to do it all on the road, and you only have a good option to go on the right. And the last thing I ever want to see any drivers do that I taught is backing out across the road, clear out across, going really wide, across a couple lanes just to be able to make an alley turnabout. So back into the right to turn left, back in or pull into the left to go right. I know that may not make sense right now, but think it through. If you're turning around and you're going to use a left alley, it's because you want to pull forward across oncoming traffic. If you're using a right alley, it's because you want to back into oncoming traffic so you can pull out forward. Hopefully that made a little more sense. I know I kind of rambled there. All right. The other big thing on Drive 2, the thing that will carry on into Drive 3, 4, 5, and 6, is lane changes. You're going to do a lot of lane changes in life. You're going to do a lot of times when your car is going to travel a width to the left or to the right. You need to be able to do it in every instance that it comes up completely safely. So here we've got a street we're turning on that it only has one lane in each direction, but it has a shared center lane. And we're not necessarily going to talk a lot about the shared center lane on Drive 2, but if you were going to turn left and a street like this was what you were driving on, you would make a lane change into that center lane. So when you get to an intersection like this, intersection with the light up ahead, if you want to turn left, you're going to make a lane change into the left turn lane. Same thing. You're moving the car one width to the left in order to get into this left turn lane. That means you have to do a lane change, and there's a step for that. When you get close, signal, check your mirror, look over your shoulder really quick, and then drive into that lane. Now you're in this lane, we're turning left. All right? Just like that. It works the exact same way to the right. If you were going to park along the side of the road here, this example wouldn't work. I'm not going to park here because it's a no parking zone. You see that P with a slash through it? That means no parking along this area, so we can't park here. But if we were going to park along the right, we would signal right, we would check our mirrors, we would check our blind spot, and then we would pull over to the right. Doesn't matter what you're doing. Doesn't matter if you're parking, or if there's another driving lane over there you're getting into, or if there's a turn lane up ahead that you're moving into, or even if it's an off-ramp on the freeway that you're going off on. It's always the same. Let's turn right at this intersection. Signal right, check my mirror, look over my shoulder, and then drive into the right turn lane. Now I'm leaving my right turn signal on because I'm actually turning at this intersection, just like that. So lane changes, big part of driving, one of the most dangerous tasks that we do, because it means we have to know every single time that our blind zone, the area we can't see in our mirrors, has nothing in it. And guess what? We make assumptions about that, and those assumptions lead to crashes. They aren't going to kill people very often. You're not usually going to get in a fatal crash because you didn't check your blind zone, though it could happen. It doesn't happen a lot. But you're going to get in a lot of damage-causing crashes where you're going to have your car all banged up. You're going to have to get it in the shop and get it repaired. If it's your fault, you're going to have to claim your insurance and everything else to fix somebody else's car too. It's going to be a big mess. You're going to get in trouble with law enforcement because you did something wrong. There's a lot of consequences to making silly little mistakes, like not checking your blind spot before making a lane change. So really think about lane changes as a dangerous thing, not something you just do willy-nilly, but something that could really cause a side effect. So on Drive 2, we also do a little bit about hill parking. So here's an uphill. This is a nice steep uphill. We're going to make a lane change to the right. So I'm going to look over my shoulder. I'm going to check my mirrors. I'm going to do all that. I'm going to pull over here next to the curb and park. Now, in order to park here like I was going to leave the car here, I need to put the car in park, right? Because the parking gear is what holds the car in place. I need to set the parking brake. We talked about that on Drive 1. Pull up on that lever if you have it, or push down on that parking brake pedal. Get it nice and set. And then we want the car to roll into the curb if it starts to roll away. But we don't want the back wheels to roll into the curb, because if that happens, the car may just hop the curb and keep on rolling. So we always want the front wheels to roll into the curb and stop us. So if we're on an uphill like we are here today, then how do we turn the wheels? We turn them to the left. Turn the wheel all the way to the left as far as you can turn it, so that it's completely, the wheels are as far this way as you can get them. And then if the car were to roll, here, let me show you what would happen. I'm gonna let it roll so that you can feel, you can see at least a little bit of what happens. The car rolls back into the curb and stops. See, my foot isn't even on the brake right now, and we're in neutral. If the car could roll backwards, it would roll backwards, but the front wheels are against the curb right now, so it's stuck there. I wouldn't recommend trying this just for fun, but right now, the way I'm sitting, the car's just stuck here. It can't roll away. That's what you want in a best case scenario, so that your car doesn't roll away and crash into something without you knowing about it. You don't want it to happen even if you do know about it, but you especially don't want it to happen if you don't know about it. All right, so we're on an uphill. We want to re-enter traffic. That's a lane change. We're going to signal, check our mirrors, and then re-enter traffic. All right, so uphill, we want the front wheels to bump into the curb. That will help us stop. Now, what if we're on a downhill? All right, let's do a U-turn. And we'll practice a downhill. Oh, am I going to make the U-turn? Am I? Oh, look at that, I made a U-turn! All right. Now then, we're going to get on the same hill that we were just parked on. The uphill. Now we're going the opposite direction. That makes it a downhill. Physics works that way. It's kind of cool. So here we go. We're going to signal, look over our shoulder, going to make a lane change over to the curb. Now park right here next to the curb, nice and close. All right, so same thing. We want the front wheels to roll into the curb if it rolls on its own. So put it in park, set the parking brake, turn the wheel all the way to the right so that they're pointed towards the sidewalk, and there we are. We're nice and stuck. Now, if I were to put us in neutral here, let's see what happens. I'm going to put us in neutral. I'm going to let the parking brake out. I'm going to let us roll against the curb. There we are. Now my foot is off the brake. We're in neutral. If the car could roll, it would. But since it's against the curb, it's stuck here. It can't go anywhere. That's what we want to achieve. All right, my foot's back on the brake. I'm putting it back in drive. Here's a big thing you got to remember if you're parking downhill. After you're done parking, when you're ready to drive away, make sure you straighten the wheel first, or otherwise you'll drive right off into whatever's over there to the right, and you don't want to drive over there to the right. So, signal left, look over your shoulder to the left, make sure there's nothing coming. Oh, look, there's a truck coming in my blind spot. Boom, he's gone. It's safe now. I'm ready to re-enter traffic. We're going to hammer lane changes into your head every single time we're with you in the car. It's that important that you do it right. It's that important that you not cut people off, that you not move left without knowing what's left, that you not move right without knowing what's right. You've got to get in a good habit formation there, and it's our job to make sure that that gets really solidly formed in you. So we might sound a little like a broken record sometimes, but we're really working to try to make sure that you're safe out there all the time. So I'm not going to go over how to do an angle park in this video because I don't think you'll be able to see the reference points that I'm trying to show you, but we're going to work on angle parking in Drive 2, and we're also going to work on a lot of targeting type stuff where we're just telling our eyes, hey, I'm going to turn right. That means I need to look where I want the car to go and follow my eyes as I try to steer the car there. That stuff will all work a lot better when you're one-on-one with an instructor than just trying to listen to me talk about it. But Drive 2, it's just a slightly more difficult version of Drive 1 where we're doing a little more technical stuff. Nothing you can't handle. Remember, confidence first, then start using your eyes wherever you need to go. Everything builds off of that. All right, thanks for watching this video, and we will see you at the next one.